And the angel said unto me, Wherefore didst thou marvel? I will tell thee the mystery of the woman, and of the beast that carrieth her, which hath the 7 heads and 10 horns. The beast that thou sawest was, and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit, and go into perdition. And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was, and is not, and yet is. Revelation 17:7-8. On the 21st of July, 2024, President Biden made the announcement that he would be withdrawing from the presidential race.
Good afternoon. I'm Rachel Scott at ABC headquarters here in New York. We are coming on the air at this hour with breaking news. President Biden has just announced that he is ending his re-election bid. Just moments ago, the president tweeted out, "It has been the greatest honor of my life to serve as your president. And while it has been my intention to seek re-election, I believe it is in the best interest of my party and the country for me to stand down and to focus solely on fulfilling my duties as president for the remainder of my term. I will speak to the nation later this week in more detail about my decision."
When we take a deeper look at this event, it becomes obvious that this is another satanic ritual meant to exalt the devil and his antichrist. So without further ado, let's get into it. Remember, it was only a few short weeks ago when Biden said this.
Look, I mean, if the Lord Almighty came out and said, Joe, get out of the race, I'll get out of the race. The Lord Almighty's not coming down.
Subsequently, Biden has made an about face and chosen to drop out of the race. Like I said previously, in response to Biden's comments, the Lord God Almighty indeed is coming down. At 1:45 p.m. Sunday, July 21st, Biden's senior staff was notified that he was stepping away from the 2024 race. At 1:46 p.m., that message was made public. Strong's Concordance lists H-145 as Ader, which means glory, magnificence, to make glorious, illustrious, to become magnificent. It also means to pay a magnificent price. Make note of this reference to paying a magnificent price, as we'll come back to it later. Strong's also lists H-146 as Adar, which means exceeding glorious, to be made great and majestic. This is a reference to the coming Antichrist, who will glorify and magnify himself, as found in Daniel 11:36, which declares, "And the king shall do according to his will, and he shall exalt himself and magnify himself above every god, and shall speak marvelous things against the God of gods, and shall prosper till the indignation be accomplished, for that is determined shall be done." This is further confirmed by the date of his announcement, which was July 21st, or 7/21, which points to Daniel 7:21, which declares, "I beheld, and the same horn made war with the saints, and prevailed against them." Moreover, Strong's Concordance lists H-721 as Ervad, which means "I shall break loose," as a reference to a fugitive, which is a person who has escaped from a place, one who has broken God's yoke and wanders about unbridled towards God. The mention of one who escapes as a fugitive and wanders about unbridled by God points us to Abaddon or Apollyon, who escapes from hell when he is set free or released from the bottomless pit, as found in Revelation 9:11. This is confirmed by the number 21, which can be expressed as 777, which points to the lightning which fell from heaven, and the phrase Barack Obama, as found in Luke 10:18, which describes Satan falling like lightning from heaven. Not only that, but the day of the week Biden made this announcement, Sunday, further points us to Barack Obama, whose logo is the rising sun. This decision to drop out of the race by Biden is not only of historical significance, but also seems to foreshadow a prophetic event, as we have been discussing the potential candidacy of Michelle Obama for the presidency since January 1st.
Apparently Obama's always said, I wish I would have been on the ticket because I would have beat President Trump.
Yeah, well, I think it's a hostile takeover because there is no Biden campaign. It doesn't exist. There's barely any staff. He doesn't go anywhere. He doesn't go anywhere, Jessica. And I think the Obamas are flabbergasted that Joe keeps saying, we got this, when he clearly doesn't have this. The guy got so lucky. He only won last time because it was a once-in-a-100-year pandemic. And then big intel election interfered. That's the only way he got into the White House. So I heard Michelle Obama do an hour-long podcast yesterday. And she's talking about Gaza, she's talking about the border, she's talking about what keeps her up at night. And this may be even her saying, listen, I'm option 2 if the convention rolls around and Joe hits his head again. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but she's putting herself out there.
Although right now, the spotlight is on Kamala Harris, she has not yet won the Democratic nomination. The Democratic National Committee has said that they will push forward with a virtual roll call that will be completed by August 7th, or 8/7, 12 days before the DNC begins. Now watch this. Strong's G87 is Ariakritas, which means without partiality, to make a choice and to select someone during this time and by these means. Clearly, Kamala Harris has received partiality because of her position as vice president and through Joe Biden's endorsement. Further, Strong's G12 is Abyssos, which means the bottomless pit of hell, the abode of demons. This lets us know that this selection will come directly from the king of the bottomless pit. Therefore, there remains a distinct possibility that Michelle Obama will be drafted by the committee as the reluctant last hope of the Democratic Party to secure the presidency.
Now, let's talk about the fact that they're not supporting Kamala Harris, the very same people that I would argue pushed Biden out. You know, it says a lot to me that, you have the Obamas. We know that Barack gave the wink and the nod to George Clooney to write that New York Times op-ed. We know he's been working hard behind the scenes. We know that he gave the okay to Schumer and Pelosi to do the things that they've been doing. And then all of those same voices are silent tonight. Now, the Congressional Black Caucus, very prominent voices within the Democratic Party, James Clyburn, others, they're supporting Kamala Harris. But they're the same group of people that didn't win out in this battle for Joe Biden to stay in. So who's going to win the next battle?
So look, I say this as somebody who a year ago predicted Joe was not going to be the nominee. I'm going to predict that Kamala Harris is not going to be the nominee either. And the reason is if they get one shot, they're going to take their absolute best shot that they can.
Who is it?
That's clearly not Kamala
Who's
Harris. Well, look, I think there's a lot of open possibilities. I would not write off the possibility that it ends up being Michelle Obama. She checks off the same identity politic boxes, and it's going to be somebody who's maybe above the fray that doesn't create the same kind of infighting that could debilitate their party. So Barack, the reality, Sean,
Barack is literally leading the charge, trying to keep his, keeping plausible deniability, and then his own wife takes over. What do you call that?
I think you call it realism.
Further, hypothetical polls show that Michelle Obama is the only candidate the Democrats have that could beat Trump, which has increased calls for Michelle Obama to enter the race. In addition to this, in Barack Obama's statement concerning Biden dropping out of the race, his failure to endorse Kamala Harris as the Democratic nominee only adds to the intrigue and suggests that Obama has plans to put his wife and himself back into the White House. Moreover, the decision to host the 2024 Democratic National Convention in Chicago at the United Center only adds further weight to the importance of the timing of this announcement, since Chicago is the hometown of both Michelle and Barack Obama, setting the stage for a dramatic last-minute foray into the race by Michelle. Not only that, but the United Center in the Windy City of Chicago is the home of the Chicago Bulls, which boasts a statue of Michael Air Jordan, whose name means "who is like God," the fallen one, as a reference to the prince of the power of the air, the Chicago Bull, Barack Obama. Remember, Jordan won 6 rings, connecting him to the sixth god, Saturn or Satan, and he wore the number 23. Strong's Concordance lists G623 as Apollyon, which means destroyer, and which just so happens to be the name of the king of the bottomless pit. You will remember that we discussed the importance of the numbers 6 and 23 in the previous video, where I explained that the assassination attempt against Donald Trump, which occurred on 7/13 in Butler, Pennsylvania, was connected to the sacrifice of Julio Fulio, who was called 6 on 6/23 as a reference to the Supreme Court's ruling of 6-3 or 6-2-3, giving the president immunity for ordering the assassination of his political rivals.
And take a look at what happened.
Not only that, but the assassination attempt on Trump in Butler occurred just 23 days before the coming DNC, and the name Butler means cup bearer. Previously, I told you that Obama represents the 15th tarot card, which is the devil, and Donald Trump represents the 16th Trump Tower tarot card. Therefore, the connection of Donald Trump's attempted assassination in Butler with the cupbearer holds much significance, as it points to the 17th tarot card, the Star card, which depicts a woman holding cups in her hand with an 8-pointed star above her head. Interestingly enough, Michelle Obama was born on the 17th of January, which connects her to the 17th tarot card. And if Michelle is presented as the nominee at the DNC, she will definitely be the star of the show. The date of Michelle Obama's birthday, January 17th, also means that she falls under the zodiac sign of Capricorn, which uses the goat as its symbol, a reference to the horned goat god, Satan. Remember, Joan Rivers claimed that Michelle Obama was a tranny.
Do you think that the country will see the United States will see the first gay president or the first woman president?
We already have it with Obama, so let's just calm down.
Got it.
You know Michelle is a trans.
I'm sorry, she's a what?
A transgender. We all know.
Oh my gosh.
Oh gosh.
Which further connects her to the horned goat god, Baphomet, who is depicted as a male with breasts. Add to this fact that the 17th tarot card refers to the awakening of the Kundalini serpent energy. Further, the star card includes references to the fusion of the masculine and feminine energies, or transgenders. If you recall, I told you about the dream my wife had on January 1st, which was 17 days before Michelle Obama's birthday, concerning Michelle Obama running for president. I told you then that my wife saw Michelle Obama shapeshift into a serpent. Also, the name Michelle Obama hides a message which identifies the Antichrist, or little horn. The name Michelle, which comes from Michael, means who is like God. Her middle name, Lavon, means the little one, which is a reference to the little horn as found in Daniel 7:8. Her married name, Obama, points us to her husband, and it means from heaven, as found at the end of the phrase Barack Obama from Luke 10:18, which means lightning from heaven. Her maiden name, Robinson, actually means the son of one who shines bright, which is a reference to the light bearer, Lucifer, or Satan. Therefore, her name actually means who is like God, the little one, or little horn, Obama, the lightning from heaven, the son of Lucifer. The 8-pointed star found in the 17th tarot card is the symbol of the star of Ishtar, or star of Inanna, which is a Mesopotamian symbol of the ancient Sumerian goddess Inanna and her East Semitic counterpart, Ishtar. Ishtar is the Sumerian goddess of sex, war, and fertility. She is a goddess with many names and faces, including Aphrodite, Venus, Sophia, Isis, Hera, and Shakti, the divine consort of the god Shiva, the destroyer, who is the same as Abaddon or Apollyon, the king of the bottomless pit. Her connection to Venus, which is the morning star, also connects this goddess to Lucifer. The 8-pointed star is sometimes shown alongside the crescent moon, which was the symbol of Sin, god of the moon, and the rayed solar disk, which was a symbol of Shamash, the god of the sun. The reality that Ishtar is linked to Shakti, the spouse of Shiva, the destroyer, who matches with either Abaddon or Apollyon, Venus or Lucifer, and the sun god, ultimately identifies Michelle Obama as a symbol of the divine feminine, Ishtar, and her various forms, including her role as the spouse of Barack Obama, who embodies the divine masculine and its various forms through Shiva, Lucifer, Abaddon, and the sun god. Moreover, Ishtar was the consort of the Babylonian god Tammuz, who is depicted as a shepherd king and also called the dying and rising god. We are told about the abomination of worshiping and weeping for Tammuz in Ezekiel 8:13 through 14, which declares, "He said also unto me, Turn thee yet again, and thou shalt see greater abominations that they do. Then he brought me to the door of the gate of the Lord's house, which was toward the north, and behold, there sat women weeping for Tammuz." This weeping for Tammuz symbolizes his death and eventual resurrection, suggests a parallel to his depiction as a shepherd with that of Yahushua, the true Messiah. This portrayal then positions Tammuz as a false Messiah, thereby extending the identification to Barack Obama, Ishtar's husband, as Tammuz, the false Messiah. This is confirmed by the Sumerian and Babylonian myth of Ishtar, or Inanna's descent into the underworld to facilitate the resurrection of her husband, the shepherd king, Tammuz. Further, Tammuz is the month of the sin of the golden calf, which resulted in Moses breaking the tablets of the 10 Commandments. This connects Tammuz with the horned bull god, or the Chicago Bull, Barack Obama. In addition, the number 17 tarot card and its association with Ishtar and Tammuz also points to the 17th of Tammuz, which is a Jewish fast day commemorating the breach of the walls of Jerusalem before the destruction of the Second Temple. It is important to note that Ishtar was also a goddess of fire and fire quenching. This connects her, and by extension, Michelle Obama, back to the attempted assassination of Donald Trump and the Buffalo Township fireman Corey Comparatore, who was sacrificed at the rally. Remember, the name Corey means cauldron or hot bath, as a reference to the lake of fire in the bottomless pit of hell. Earlier I told you that Biden's announcement at 1:45 on Sunday was connected to a word that meant to pay a magnificent price. This also points to the fireman who was sacrificed after suffering a deadly head wound, since its name, Comparatore, means to buy or to purchase. Why is this significant? Because the true Messiah, Yahushua, paid a magnificent price, reckoned in blood money, of 30 pieces of silver. When he shed his blood and died on the cross, he purchased all who believe, and he was resurrected on the third day to offer salvation to everyone who relies upon his atonement for sin. In like manner, the Antichrist, or counterfeit Christ, the husband of Ishtar, Tammuz, the shepherd king, will suffer a deadly head wound, like the fireman Comparatore, but he will be resurrected, exalted, and glorified as the false savior of the world. This can be found in Revelation 13:3-4, which declares, "And I saw one of his heads, as it were, wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast. And they worshipped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast, and they worshipped the beast, saying, Who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him?" This was proven by the fact that Donald Trump kissed an effigy of the fireman from Buffalo, a representation of the horned bull god, the Chicago Bull from the lake of fire, showing his allegiance to Satan and Obama. Earlier I told you that Michelle Obama, who represents Ishtar, the Queen of Heaven, the 17th tarot, which is the star card, was born on January 17th, or 117. Since 1 + 1 is 2, 117 can be expressed as 27, and since Ishtar was a goddess of fire and putting out fires, this further connects the Obamas to the fireman who worked for the Buffalo Township Fire Department, number 27. Comparatore was the chief fireman of Buffalo, which equates him with the chief or king of the fiery pit of hell. This is confirmed by the number 27. Interestingly enough, 27 kilometers is the circumference of the LHC located at CERN, where scientists are trying to open a portal or doorway to hell to allow the king of the bottomless pit, the horned bull god, Satan, to escape. Not to mention, CERN also has a statue of Shiva, who is the same as Abaddon or Apollyon, on its campus, and we know that Obama connected himself with Shiva, the god of all things, or goat. Not only that, but along with the 8-pointed star as found on the 17th tarot card, the owl was also one of Ishtar's primary symbols. This is also significant because if Michelle actually does run and becomes president of the United States of America, her seat of power will be located in the District of Columbia, which has a giant owl designed in the landscape of the Capitol building. Perched atop the Capitol building with stars adorning her head is the goddess Columbia, the female personification of the United States. She is the same as Aphrodite, Venus, and Ishtar, who are goddesses of sex and fertility. The dome of the Capitol, facing the Washington Monument or Egyptian obelisk, along with the 8-pointed star of the 17th tarot card, the owl at the Capitol building, and goddesses of sex, is also connected with the Vatican, which also has a dome like the Capitol building, which faces an Egyptian obelisk, which represents Baal's penis. The obelisk is situated inside of a circle divided in 8 sections as a reference to the sex act with the whore of Babylon and queen of heaven, Ishtar. In fact, Ishtar was the protector of prostitutes, and worship of this sacred whore included temple prostitution. Further, the number 17 tarot card, Michelle Obama's possible candidacy for President of the United States, and the fact that her birthday is on the 17th, further serves to identify the United States of America with the whore of Babylon, as found in Revelation 17. Verses 3 through 6 declare, "So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints and with the blood of the martyrs of Yahushua. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration." The shedding of the blood of the saints has already begun, and it will continue to get worse from this point. In the end, the fact that Michelle Obama may end up becoming the President of the United States, or Mystery Babylon, is prophetic. Before I close, I will end with this one last note. The DNC will be held in Chicago from August 19th to August 22nd. The date, August 19th, or 819, gives us the number 18, which can be expressed as 666, the number of the beast. The date, August 22nd, or 822, gives us 84, Obama's birthday. Clearly, they are pointing the world to the identity of the horned bull god, the Chicago Bull, the beast, 666, who was born on 8/4, Barack Obama, the lightning which fell from heaven. I truly believe that time is running out. It is only a matter of time now when the truth of the identity of the Antichrist will be made plainly obvious to the world. Therefore, if you have not given your life to the Most High by accepting the blood sacrifice of the Paschal Lamb, Yahushua HaMashiach, which was shed on the cross as a propitiation for the redemption of sins, the time to do so is now. Amen. Shalom.
His soul